Good evening, everybody. Why it always plays that video after that one, I don't know. But welcome to the stream. Looks like we got a big group starting off. Nura, Cindy, Daddy Jim, Broadcast Cat, M35, Andrew P3. Welcome back, brother. I hope you're doing well. Pat, thank you all for coming. Oh, Haji, Linda H. So, welcome to the stream. Thank you all for coming to the show. Thank you, people. Love you. Good night. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Where's the top of my head? It shows up on being okay on OBS. Yeah, sure. It's good on OBS. It's scroll up, Jim. Oh, broadcast cat. Sorry, I just saw the name and well, there's been a lot of, I shouldn't say good news, but better news than what was happening over the weekend. Russia basically used up its stockpile, I think. Anyways, let's just hop right into it. Operational information as of 8 a.m. regarding the Russian invasion for May 27th. Again, this is coming out right after midnight Central Time, my time. So this was 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday for Ukraine. It is now 5:07 in Ukraine. Tomorrow. Ukraine's the future, is in the future, both of them. And I can prove that this stream. As always, we start the report with glory to Ukraine. Just see a couple minor, well, I shouldn't say minor, but just a couple air alerts. Donetsk has been on air alert for 7 hours, 10 minutes. Slovansk, Kramatorsk, Slovansk, Druzhivka, all about 7 hours, 6.5, 7 hours ago. Coordinated attacks on those 4 cities. Dnipro, just the one district, just starting their air alert 1 minute 21 seconds ago. Going into like Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernihiv. One explosion reported at 8:09 p.m. yesterday. Kyiv Oblast. No reports of explosions since the 26th. Kyiv City, again, no explosions reported since the 26th. So a lot better news than yesterday, that's for sure. The 1189th day of the large-scale armed aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine has begun. Always want to stress that it is Russia that invaded Ukraine. It is Russia that wants this war. It is Russia that can stop this war by going home. Ukrainian defenders are steadfastly holding back the onslaught of the occupiers, inflicting significant losses on the enemy. In total, 170 combat clashes were recorded over the past day. The enemy launched 1 missile strike on the positions of Ukrainian units and settlements using 9 missiles and 87 airstrikes, dropping 151 guided aerial bombs. In addition, Russia carried out 4,586 artillery strikes, with 115 of those being from multiple launch rocket systems. They also used 3,068 kamikaze drones to strike at Ukraine. Airstrikes were carried out near the settlements of Polishkine in Chernihiv, Ozoyivka and Urody in Sumy, Novotroitsky, Dovga Balka, Troitsky, Konstantinivka, and Novopil in Donetsk, Novogorgivka in Dnipro, Malanivka, Zalaznichny, Stepnohorsk, Kamiansky, Novoandrivka in Zaporizhia, and Kamianka, Orado Kamianka. It looked a lot harder than it is. Orado Kamianka in Kherson. Over the past 24 hours, the Defense Forces, aviation, missile troops, and artillery units of the armed forces of Ukraine have inflicted damage on 6 areas of enemy personnel concentrations. 5 attacks by enemy troops were going into the individual directions quite quickly today. 5 attacks by enemy troops were repelled by Ukrainian units in the Kharkiv direction, near Voschansk and Dvorshina. Right there. Heading to the south to Kupiansk. 5 attacks by the invaders took place yesterday. Our defenders repelled enemy assault actions near Zarozova, Petropavlivka, and zooming in for it to pop up, Novokruglivka. Heading further to the south and zooming out a little bit so we can get the entire area in, the Liman Izium direction, where the enemy attacked 16 times, trying to penetrate our defenses near the settlements of Grivkivka, Novomikhailivka, Rydkobub, Yampolivka, Torsky, and towards Girogorivka. Heading to the south to Servisk direction. Our soldiers stopped 3 enemy attacks in the areas of Bilogorivka and near Verkno-Kamiansky. That looks like such a strange spelling to me compared to sorry about the cough. Heading over to Kramatorsk, Slovansk. Konstantinivka is here. Druskivka is the other city we're hearing a lot about recently. In the Kramatorsk direction, the invaders attacked 5 times in the areas of Chasiv Yar, Orakovo Vasilivka, and in the directions of Stupochki, Pretechny, and zooming way in to get the small town of Bilogora to pop up. And continuing to go south to Toretsk. The enemy carried out 12 attacks in the areas of Ozeninka, Toretsk itself, and Sechira Benivka. And unfortunately, heading over to Pokrovsk, this stretches from essentially Toretsk all the way down to Constantinople down here, and expanding further to the north, unfortunately, due to Russian advances. Here we are. In the Percross direction, our defenders stopped 65 assault actions of the aggressor near the areas of, zooming in, and we're going to be jumping around a bit just by quick looking at the names. Zorya, Alexandropol, Malinivka, Elizavetivka, Mirolubivka, Lasivka, Udashny, Novomykolivka, the second one, Koltanyarka, Troitsky, and Andrivka. Oh, they had them all in order for today. Nice. Makes it a little bit easier, but those are the areas of attack for yesterday. Moving over to the Novopavlivka direction, which covers Constantinople down towards Novopil. The enemy carried out 24 attacks in this area, starting with near Constantinople, Bagatar, Oradny, Zeleny Pool, Novosilka, Novopil, and Voliny Pol. Going past the Huliopol direction and over to Orhiv. The occupation troops stormed the positions of the defense forces 4 times in the areas of settlements of Mala Srbatsky, Stepova, and Novoandrivka. We have a troll. Where? I'm not seeing any names I don't recognize. Am I? Oh, because I'm on top chat and not live chat. Well, that's what mods are for. And thankfully, Andrew is here, so hopefully he smacked the troll I did not see. So, anyways, that was in the Orhiv direction. Moving over towards Kherson and the Dniprovsky direction. The invaders once advanced on the position of the defense forces, but without success, the enemy was stopped. I actually have that video for you today. Defense forces of Ukraine continue to restrain the enemy in the Kursk direction. Still in Belgorod here, Kursk here, and over here. Russia has made a small advance into Ukraine, controlling 4 settlements at the moment. Over the past day, the enemy carried out 16 airstrikes in this area, dropping 29 guided aerial bombs, and carried out 228 artillery strikes. 8 of those were from multiple launch rocket systems. Ukrainian defenders stopped 23 assaults in this area over the past 24 hours. In the Julio direction yesterday, the enemy did not conduct offensive actions, and I need to get used to saying the G instead of the H sound, Guliopil instead of Guliopil. It's something I am working on. Fortunately, bad habits are hard to break. In the Volyn and Polizia directions, no signs of where to go. No signs of the formation of enemy offensive groups have been detected. Our soldiers continue to inflict significant losses on the occupation forces in manpower and equipment, and actively undermine the enemy's offensive potential in the rear. We'll go into those significant losses with the graphic here shortly. And of course, we end the report with join the defense forces. Razom переможемо. Slava Ukraina. Let me just catch up with chat really quick. Yeah, unfortunately, I had YouTube in top chat instead of live chat, so that Mac 68 guy, yeah, doesn't show up for me. So that's why Andrew's here. That's he can spank them just as much as I can. Probably for one of the last times, go to Discord and grab the Russian losses for today. Total combat losses of the Russian Federation, May 27th, 1189th day of the war. Total Russian losses thus far, well, with an additional 990 losses today. Total of 982,840. About 2/3 of those are killed and 1/3 wounded. I've showed you guys that several times on the casualty reports with video evidence. Losses, killed in action is about double for the Russians over wounded in action. 2 more tanks were blown up today. 1 armored personnel vehicle, 17 artillery systems, 222 UAVs, 9 cruise missiles shot down, and 67 vehicles taken out. Catching up with Spanner Man kills trolls. Yeah, I'm going to have to start grabbing this from the source. From the website, because I am seriously considering deleting Discord. Discord, of course, living up to its name and causing discord. But many of you know there was another community that basically had a blow up, and one person's saying, oh, this person did it, the other person's saying, oh, that person did it, and it's just a mess. It's Discord. I've seen it happen so many times, and I'm just exhausted with the drama. So, um, those of you listening in that know. Those that don't, it's not worth your time. But if you're gonna stay on Discord, look up the Discord add-ons and look for a logging add-on. It logs all the information, kicks, bans, deleted messages, so on and so forth. Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see what people say happened and what actually happened. So I've already deleted the app off of my phone, and yeah, I think it's time to delete it off my computer too. It is Discord, obviously. Broadcast cat. For everybody that cannot read Ukrainian, where the hell are the shells? They're coming. Let me move the air alert map to the side for now. And bring up Zelensky's Telegram channel. And Zelensky released a video this morning from the prisoner exchange, completing the 1,000 for 1,000. Here is that video for you.
Україна зустрічає своїх людей.
Вітаємо вдома, хлопці!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Слава Богу! Героям слава!
Це найбільший обмін полоненими за весь час повномасштабної війни. За 3 дні додому повернулося 1000 українців, 880 військових та 120 цивільних.
Я живу, со мною все хорошо вам.
1000 дзвінків, на які так чекали. 1000 обіймів, про які так мріяли. Дякуємо всім у світі, хто допомагає і робить усе для того, щоб повертати наших людей додому, в Україну.
Ми вас, ті, що залишилися, не забули, і все рівно за вас
І дякуємо.
і заберемо.
Дякуємо, що ви нас не забули.
Поміняли, брат, я вже тут в Україні. Дома! Все добре, дома!
3 года, брат!
Дякуємо вам. Дякуємо, що витягнули.
Andrew Petrie says, I can spell. Well, that makes one of us. Now, some images of Special Forces for the Special Forces Day.
Шановні наші
Of course, always busy. Gave a speech to the Special Forces for their day and awarded medals. Unfortunately, most of those medals were posthumously. I can pronounce too. I'm good at pronouncing. and of course, Zelensky's address for today. Yeah, I know how to use spell check. Steve, spell check.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці, українки. Кілька речей за цей день провів тривалу нараду з військовими, головком Сирський, керівник Генерального штабу Гнатов, міністр оборони також був Умєров. Питання планування наших дій, наша готовність відповідати на російські удари, на їх погрози, а також діяти превентивно. І це означає збільшувати наше виробництво, наших дронів, наших ракет. Я вдячний усім, хто працює саме заради цього. Вже сотні українських компаній дають результати для Сил оборони України. Буде більше, я впевнений в цьому. Зараз ми максимально залучаємо підприємницьку силу до виробництва зброї. Ми готуємо вже найближчим часом і нові домовленості з нашими партнерами в Європі для інвестицій саме в українське виробництво. І передусім виробництво саме безпілотного та далекобійного елементу. Всього того, що дозволяє контролювати ситуацію на фронті, дозволяє берегти життя наших воїнів та діяти на значну відстань. Звісно, публічно ми не можемо говорити про наявні плани, про наші можливості, але перспектива зрозуміла, дзеркально відповідати на всі російські загрози і виклики. Вони там в Росії повинні відчувати чітко наслідки від того, що роблять проти України. Це буде ударні дрони, перехоплювачі, крилаті ракети, українська балістика – це ключові елементи. Все маємо виробляти ми. Сьогодні ж були з доповідями у мене урядовці щодо економічних перспектив нашої країни, тих рішень, які потрібні, щоб забезпечувати роботу підприємств в Україні. Підприємств, що вже є, та заснування нових бізнесів. І детально працюємо над практичними змінами, щоб залучати капітал в Україну, щоб забезпечити можливість максимально вигідної спільної роботи з партнерами для інвестицій та відновлення України. Нормальне соціальне життя в Україні, розвиток нашої інфраструктури, наших громад, української медицини, наших освітніх можливостей, всього того, що забезпечує життя людей. Можливо, тільки за умови реального та відчутного економічного зростання. І це ключове завдання для уряду. Ще одне. Сьогодні вперше, саме у травні, ми відзначаємо професійний день наших спецпризначенців, сил спеціальних операцій. Це одна з найбільш ефективних складових нашого українського захисту. Дійсно круті хлопці. І сьогодні я мав честь подякувати їм, подякувати особисто, нагородити деяких з них і передати рідним полеглих героїв золоті зірки. Ми всі завжди маємо не забувати, які люди стали на захист України та реально зберігають Україні життя. Кожен, хто бився і б'ється заради України, кожен, хто працює заради нашої держави і людей, заслуговує на нашу вдячність. Незалежність тримається на тих, хто бореться за неї та зміцнює її. Слава Україні!
Героям слава. Andrew, no, I can't. To be honest with you, I'm not even sure what Zelensky's wife looks like. If you showed me a picture of her and asked me who it was, I couldn't tell you. A couple more things coming in. Zelenograd, the moment of the UAV attack and the consequences. Ukraine sending more drones into Russia. Sounds like a bunch of angry birds chirping. And with that, give you a bit of a preview of what's to come as we scroll back to the beginning of the day for the drone report. And you'll notice there is quite a bit to go over today. So much so that I'm running out of stuff to talk about while I scroll. And here we are for today. Russia launched 60 drones, 43 were destroyed. The enemy air attack vehicles were hit in 9 locations, as well as downed by strike UAVs falling in 3 locations. A bit on the new tactic that Russia is using. It boils down to consistently changing the routes of UAVs and trying to launch them at high altitudes. They're now launching them now more than 2 kilometers from the ground and then diving down directly onto the object itself. At such an altitude, they become more visible to our radars, but out of reach of small arms, heavy machine guns, and mobile fire groups. Another trend is that the Russians are conducting group drone strikes simultaneously on one settlement or facility, as was the case, for example, on Monday night in Starokostyantunev, Starokonstantunev in Klemensky. That is where the main focus of their attack was directed. In addition, Russians, together with Shahed type strike UAVs, launched a significant portion of unarmed simulator drones, parity drones, according to the enemy's plan, should increase the load on our air defense systems. During the last attacks, according to the gentleman being interviewed, the proportion between strike UAVs and false drones was approximately 60%. 60% real, 40% dummy drones. That is Russia's new tactic. Yeah, how's winter going down there in upside down land? And proof that Ukraine is in the future, not just because they're at 5:40 a.m. instead of 9:40. But a nice quick look at Ukrainian-made drone defense pistol. The Ministry of Defense codified an individual means of countering UAVs, the anti-drone pistol of Ukrainian production. This is a means of installing electromagnetic interference. It blocks the control channels and video signal of enemy drones. The anti-drone pistol is compact, weighs just over 1 kilogram, and is made in a monolithic form factor. Basically looks like a blaster out of cheesy 80s and 90s space movies. So you watched it on as fantasy in the movies, and now here it is. Joint work of aerial reconnaissance operators of the 14th Regiment and the Rocket Artillery Unit on equipment and rocket launchers in the rear lines of Russia. Okay, that was loud. Well, it's making them have to use fiber optics. If you didn't have the guns, they wouldn't need the fiber optics. And then, well, I'm going to skip ahead to one of the stories at the bottom. The consequences of using a huge number of fiber optic FPV drones on the front lines.
Мали карася в оптоволокно. Оце все поле в оптоволокні. Геть, все тягне за собою. Рибак, блядь. Ваня, а ти чого собі не взяв? Ти чого собі не взяв лески?
Literally dragging kilometers worth of fiber optics. Yeah, I could agree with that. Go home or go home in a body bag, one of the two. Let me get back up to where we were. But I just had to show that since we were talking about fiber optic drones and the new anti-drone pistol. Previously, anti-drone. You know, this is what you had to have before. Basically, twice the size and twice the weight of a rifle. And with a $5,000 or $3,500 price tag. Very expensive. There's one for $14,000. This is cheaper, simpler, and more easy to deploy anywhere. It's just a sidearm. So, yeah, Ukraine took it from this huge thing. Let's see images. So, see if we can. Yeah, this is what they were before. There we go. That's what they were before. And Ukraine's taking it down to that. Just saying. You know, that's the state with technology. You know, computers used to take up warehouses of rooms. Now, you got more computing power in your cell phone than they had on the missions to the moon. Joint work of aerial reconnaissance operators of the 14th Regiment and the Rocket Artillery Unit on equipment. Oh, we just watched that one. Black Sky tracked down and burned a car and buggy in Pokrovsk direction. Yeah, they're probably a shorter range. But, equip 10 guys with one of these compared to one of those other ones. One of those ones. And you don't have a guy dedicated and having to carry around this huge monster. You could have 10 guys with a drone gun all pointing at it from different angles, different directions, mess it all kinds of. Yeah, okay, probably more power, more frequencies, more strength in this. But if you have 5 guns, 5 of those little drone handguns encircling a drone, I'd trust that rather than just this one big one that the guy might trip, stumble, and have to rebalance himself and lose directional. Just my 2 cents. More is better. From the UTAC team, showing the destruction of ground targets with GBU-39 aerial bombs on a chicken coop in Kursk. Where's your head at? Where's your head at? I wish I could make it bigger, but that's as far as it would go. So, where's your head at? And that would make a good song for this video clip, but this has a different one. Russian demining team. Well, they work for bananas. Judging by the trigger on them, I would assume that they are. Da Vinci Wolf showed the evacuation of a body of a fallen warrior using a drone. This is the care and effort that Ukraine puts into evacuating their wounded and fallen. You know, where Russia leaves its men laying in fields for years, this is what Ukraine does. And one strike by a Russian drone. Another strike by a drone. Hit a landmine. And the robot keeps going, evacuating those fallen heroes. What, you talking about this meme? It takes a special brain to think, oh, there's a mine, let me whack it with a stick. In the Vladimir region of Russia, unknown drones attacked the Morom instrument making plant. Results require clarification. Arrivals were also reported in Boris Ogulbisk. The carpet plan, grounding of all planes, was implemented at 6 airports in Russia. Russians claim to have shot down 99 UAVs in 7 different regions. Here's the videos of, 4 videos of this. I gotta play that one because of the rooster at the end.
Вон нахуй. Над полем ебашит нахуй. Вышел. Пиздец, лишь бы не на 5-этажку нахуй. Вон он. О, хуярит, сейчас ебанет.
Yeah, I'll probably get a copyright claim for the rooster too. Oh. Hold the camera straight. How do you know it's a video filmed by a Russian? When you have to do this to see upright, I mean, is it because they're all drunk and half falling over that they can't hold the camera straight? Several Russian motorcyclists blown up by mines and remotely installed by drone sappers of the 59th Brigade. It's a robot that lays broadcast cat-ass drone sapper. It's a robot that goes in, lays down the mines, and then the robot drives out. So there you see the aftermath, the Russian truck, and 3 motorcycles. Here, let's close this and go to there are several different types out there. This one gets a little wagon filled with landmines, spins, reaches out, grabs it, puts it in place, off to the next one. Here's a interesting view, but looking for a better one. Unfortunately, the best one I can see is let's see, drone mine layer. There we go. So just this little robot goes out with like a 3-pack of mines and just goes out, slides it off the robot into place, goes to drops the next one, goes back, refills, comes back out, puts more drones. Neat little tool. And unfortunately, a characteristic of this war that I wish would go away. Landmines suck because nobody has ever went back through and gotten rid of all the mines they've dropped. As far as I know, Ukraine is the only nation that is actually keeping track of GPS coordinates of the mines they put down. Anton says, it's true, there are studies that show that vodka is so prevalent that a significant fraction of orphans have fetal alcohol syndrome in Russia. Yeah. Don't have to bury the mines. According to published data, prevalence of fetal alcohol syndrome in children from Russia orphanages is estimated to be between 30 and 66%. So yeah, 1 to 2/3 of Russia is suffering from fetal alcohol syndrome. Unfortunately, yeah, Possum, that's about what it works out to. So that's the AI. So let's go to an actual study. So in a survey that they conducted of 850 women, 57% of non-pregnant women reported inconsistent birth control practices, with 71% in the same group reporting binge drinking. 11% of the women trying to conceive, 66% of those have reported binge drinking. Children between the age of 8 and 24 adopted from Russia and Ukraine were evaluated for clinical and historical features of fetal alcohol syndrome. Unfortunately, it is a consequence of the old Russian Empire, Soviet Union, whatever you want to call it. I wish it separated out the data for Russia and Ukraine, because Ukraine has been improving while Russia's been pretty much stayed the same. When was this study done, though, is what I want to know. 2021, February, right a year before the invasion. Of the 162 children evaluated, 81%, 50% of those met fetal alcohol syndrome criteria. 20.4% had fetal alcohol syndrome. Okay, so it had the disorder or just the syndrome. 28% had partial FAS, and 2 had alcohol-related birth defects. 11.1% neurodevelopmental disorder. Of the 81 children which could not be confirmed, many had manifestations that would have established a diagnosis if the history was there. So yeah, it's pretty bad. I just wish they separated out the countries, because they just focused on the old Eastern European blocks, and Ukraine is relatively new and getting away from the old Soviet mentality where you go out and binge drink if you're not working. That binge drinking is less prevalent in Ukraine. I still saw some of it while I was in Kiev, but it's not like I see in videos from Russia. Anyways. Oh, general consensus. You want a fun one? Let's see if I can find it on the map really quick. It was in here somewhere. I just can't. Ah, there's the road. Ah, here it is. This was when this lake was full. This was an island in the middle of the Aral Sea. There was no access to it, and USSR used it as a bioweapons lab. You know, this was the bioweapons research area. And then they started diverting water from the lake, and because this river used to run down to the lake and fill the lake, they started diverting water from this river to do irrigation in this valley. This was in the late 50s, early 60s. And now none of this water actually reaches the lake anymore. You see it dries out here. There's been dams put in place to hold the water in this area and here. So this is the only sustainable lake from this whole Aral Sea area. This was all one giant lake. So yeah, when the USSR broke up in 91, they abandoned the security of this. And you see it's right on the border of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Villagers from around the area have been going in and looting material from this base. And of course blaming each other's side for doing it. But yeah, imagine if there was anything left behind there. This is something that scares me about the former USSR. Yeah. Oh, you think that's bad, Anton? Let's go over to China and see if I could find Wuhan. There it is. Oh, Wuhan, the city that pretty much the entire world says COVID came from. What do you think this is right here? There's a market nearby there that they traced the COVID virus to. That, you know, this market where they have raw animals or, you know, raw carcasses laying out for shopping convenience. You know, just I think it was a 10-minute walk from this facility. And that's where COVID was traced to, is that marketplace. And it came from a dead animal in that marketplace, apparently. But it's only a 10-minute walk from this place right here. So Russia's not the only one being stupid. How so be it. Yeah. Yeah. This probably will be an unpopular statement, but communist, what is considered communist, like China considers itself communist, USSR considered itself communist, but none of them were. Um, Communist is equal rights, equal treatment, equal share. And, well, just ask Putin if he has an equal share. I mean, how many mansions does Putin own? And it was the same back in Soviet times. You had an elitist class that was for the people in word only. Um, there we have not seen a country yet have true communism. Um, they tried it. There's a couple hippie communes where that works here in the States. Artist colonies where that works, sort of. But yeah, it will never exist because, well, all it takes is one greedy person to ruin it. No, I won't do vape. I don't like doing these either. But addiction is addiction, unfortunately. Um, yeah, a hard thing to talk about, but I figured you guys would want to hear this. Of the more than 5,000 POWs Russia has repatriated to Ukraine, at least 206 died in captivity. In some of the cases, internal organs are missing. Other times, it appears as if bruises or injuries have been hidden or removed from the bodies of the returned dead. Yeah, that's what it basically turns out to, not Sherlock Holmes. Um, I don't think true communism will ever exist on this earth. I'd rather just quit, Possum. I'd rather just quit than do vaping, but I can't quit right now because, well, stress levels are here. Um, but yeah, literally cutting out organs to hide injuries and treatment of the Ukrainian POWs. Destruction of Russian bikes and a dugout by Steel Border Brigade. Awesome. I live in the United States. What part of that statement do you think relates to the United States? Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the nicotine that I'm addicted to. I have to have something to do with my hands. Unfortunately, sitting here watching videos, if I'm playing a game or doing something that takes constant motion with my hands, I can go 6, 7, 8 hours without a cigarette. But as soon as I go, yeah, good for you. I wish I could. The main problem with me quitting smoking is I replace it with eating, and I'm trying to lose weight. If I get down to my goal weight, which I'm not that far from, then I'll look at quitting smoking. I get you, Possum, but yeah, medical regulation here in the States is essentially non-existent. I'll let you know afterwards, because I get like a copyright strike from every time there's the music on these videos. Here, I'll show you a little bit of the back end of YouTube. No, I think I have to go into copyright. Oh. Dashboard. Here we go. So this is just one of the streams. Let's see. Last Word or Kushanka. Aggressive Rock Thing by Purple Panda Music. Industrial Solvent by Tim Kulig. Yeah, these are all the people making money off my streams from people that watch ads afterwards. I don't care as long as they don't strike me from being viewed. Blocked in Belarus and Russia. Oh, darn. But still visible to everybody else. As long as it's visible, I am happy. They can make money. I get to raise awareness and support Ukraine. So, yeah, that's pretty much every stream that, you know, somebody puts a claim and gets all the ad revenue from ads playing on my streams. Here's an interesting video for you. Drone operators of the 63rd Brigade rescue 2 reconnaissance drones from the battlefield. You got claw game skills, Ukraine has a job for you. No, Broadcast Cat, I don't get any income whatsoever from YouTube. You need 1,000 subs to get ad revenue. And I'm at 440 last I looked. To oh, 441. So I need 59 more subscribers just to have to be able to do super chats and memberships. So what you need to start your earning journey as a YouTuber, need 500 subscribers, at least 3 videos in the last 90 days, 3,000 watch hours. I'm at 8,000 watch hours in the last year. And that will get me memberships, supers, and shopping on YouTube. If I push to go big and want ad revenue, I would need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, and I'm meeting all the criteria. Just need to up the subscribers. So I'm not worried about getting there. I'm showing it because people asked. You guys asked, I showed you. So yeah, if you're planning on being a YouTuber, plan on getting yourself 1,000 subs before you even think about quitting your day job. Just how YouTube does it. I'd like to do the super chats and memberships. So if I'm like fundraising for like the Amazon wish list I have going on right now to stock up on tourniquets, chest seals, compression bandages, and bleed stop powder, which I'm taking to Ukraine with me. These are about 10 to 20% cheaper here in the States than in the US or than Ukraine. Brain went a little backwards there. Of course they need scissors and other bandages, but I looked at the prices and compared prices in the US versus in Ukraine. And these were the 4 things that were on everybody's list that were 10 to 20% cheaper. In Ukraine, these are going for about $34. The chest seals in Ukraine are going for about $25. A single compression bandage is about $8 in Ukraine. We're getting 3 of them for $20. And the bleed stop, a single package of bleed stop, and this is a 4-pack, is about $5 in Ukraine. So it's about $20 for the 4 packages. And again, saving $5. The other stuff they need, they can buy in Ukraine cheaper than I can get them here. Just taking up suitcase space. So if you want to help out Ukraine and get them some stuff, please feel free to go to the link in the description below or pinned to the top of chat. And let's see if I can do this. Or linked in chat. I have an Amazon Plus account, so there's no shipping charges. Just paying the price of the item, and they ship it to me. Oh, Chungus is live. I guess I need to get through these videos. And meet him up over on his channel. Ukraine has developed an automatic air defense turret, Sky Sentinel, operated by AI. The main task is effective destruction of Shaheeds. The cost of one turret is $150,000. To cover one city, from 10 to 30 units are needed. Currently, preparations are underway for mass production. Necessity is the mother of invention, and Ukraine is inventing. Oh, we'll come to that in a second. Russia unveiled a new something. I'd appreciate it, Possum. So, an old tank with the turret removed, and that's where the people hide now, is in the old tank turret. This is what Russia's having to do to make armored vehicles. Tires for the defense on the front. Yeah, that's funny. And anytime anyone says Russia has plenty of armored vehicles, then why are they doing this? Russian company refused to storm Russian crutch company refused to storm Ukrainian positions on a Mad Max Lada car. Here's the video. And you see everybody here with a cane. Yeah, this is the Russian soldiers for the front.
Эти люди должны были сегодня ехать на штурм на вот этой вот машине.
And that's what they're being ordered to go on an assault with, is a freaking Lada with a grill plate.
Я Семенченко Олег Владимирович, позывной Сёма.
Я Владыка Сергей Валерьевич, позывной Рэм.
Я Савельев Артем Николаевич, позывной Сава.
So yeah, every man standing there with a cane. And Russia's ordering them to go on assault in that. But Russia has plenty of armored vehicles still. I love it. And it's probably a smart thing they refuse to go on the assault, because this is what Ukrainian does to units going on assault. Pilot of the Signum Battalion of the 53rd Separate Mechanized Brigade masterfully performed his job guiding a drone with a fiber optic cable through a dense forest at an extremely low altitude. 2 Russian drone pilots were eliminated in the Limon direction. Here is that video. Yeah, I could put a phone book under my shirt. Well, they don't exist anymore. In the past, you could put a phone book under your shirt and say it was armored shirt. I have to say, that was a pretty tall weed. Yeah, everything else is just kind of background for keeping the conversation going. NASA satellite imagery shows a large-scale fighter burning at the site of the 304th Ammunition Depot, officially closed since 2011 in Amur, Russia. Here's some of these videos from inside Russia. Nice drone shot of it. Smoking the Bandera. Yeah, this is a fire at an ammo depot in Russia. Let me back it up here. These are storage yards for old vehicles. And then over here behind the smoke is where the bunkers were storing the old ammunition. This storage facility officially closed in 2011, and for some reason it caught fire recently. Don't know why, but in the NASA firm's satellite image shows a wide area of fires. See some of the complexes and such for all the decommissioning of ammunition and stuff. This is the storage bunkers here, and this is the town. Yeah. Living pretty close to an old ammo depot. On Fox News, losses in the Russian-Ukrainian war have exceeded U.S. losses in World War II. According to Kellogg, the losses of both sides in killed and wounded have already reached 1.2 million. Let me go back to Discord here for a second. 1.2 million. So if that is true and this is true, Ukraine has about 200,000 killed and wounded, and Russia's taking up the other million. Okay. And for some reason it jumped me to the end. No problem, Possum. Thanks for coming. I enjoy doing them. You know, it's my way of keeping the help going for Ukraine, and you know, we've done a lot of good here. Between drones for the 42nd Brigade, 2 vehicles now. Of course, the medical supplies. Helped out with a drone for the 110th. Got uniforms for a soldier that their unit was overrun. They had to retreat and left everything behind, so we helped buy clothes and equipment for another unit. You know, it's, even though we're a small channel, we're doing a lot of good. We're helping out a lot, and you know, that's thanks to you guys, and it makes me ecstatic that we're able to do everything that we've done together. Nope, not that one, that one. I just hope we can keep things moving forward. And earlier in the stream, I promised you a video from Dnipro. The 40th Separate Coastal Defense Brigade destroyed a small assault group of Russians along with the boat that brought them to an island in the Kherson region. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give up if I cut my arm bleeding. Yeah, I wish I could play the song more, but that's definitely a copyright strike. Anyways, you get the thermal image and the regular image. Russians tried to cross the river into one of the islands next to Kherson, and the drones came in and made sure they stayed on that island permanently. And you know, a lot of people sit there and claim that Russian losses here is over exaggerated. I tell you right now, each one of these losses roughly is all confirmed. It doesn't say whether they're killed or wounded, just casualties. But because of all the drones, all the video evidence, most of those are backed up with video evidence, and it's hard to deny when you have video for the proof. Zelenograd, Moscow region. A fire broke out in the industrial zone after a UAV attack.
Либо это что-то вообще непонятное.
Да прилетело что-то, мне кажется.
Oh yeah, I would agree with you, Possum. The figure is probably much, much higher. But, Russia doesn't want to admit that a lot of people have died. So they say, oh, they ran off, or they're missing in action, or blah, 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 blah. So they don't have to pay the death benefits to the family at home.
Он летит на нашу сторону прям.
Я вижу, ёб твою мать.
After this video,
летит! На дом!
after this video, I'll go to Mariupol because they have Google Maps updated the Mariupol pictures and show you something that I've found out. As the Ukrainian drone flies over Moscow. Okay, I closed that one. Going back to maps and going halfway around the world again. Zooming into Mariupol. And up here is, kind of gives you an idea of how old this city is when this is the graveyard for the city. These are before the war, and right here is the start of the war. I cannot confirm this, but these are these are mass graves. Just trenches dug, bodies dumped in, dirt pushed over them. No idea who they are. Civilians, Ukrainian military, no idea. These are all the Russian military burials right here since 2022. I wish there was a way to show how big of an area this is. These are, like I said, military burials for the Russians in this area. But these people are not known to their families back home. Again, civilian area, but this entire section is since 2022. And this image from Google is not even current. This is from spring of 2024. Maybe even fall of 2023. Because in 2024, Russians built this area up for military and Russian leadership to live in. So it's been updated, but not quite as much as it should be. And I believe it was, which block was it? There's a block in here. Here we go. This one. This entire block was bulldozed, and Russia rebuilt this block, saying, "Oh, look at how much we've done to rebuild Mariupol." When you go and look around and see everything around it is still destroyed, and it's just this one block that they bulldozed, cleared off, and rebuilt on. I wish we could see the new satellite images of on here, but this is as new as we get. And of course, children written in Russian in front of the bombed out theater in Mariupol. Yeah, their mobile crematoriums were used a metric ass ton. They were being used so much, there was public outcry from Russian civilians about their use, and they got pulled back. And officially, they're not being used anymore, but there has been reports of Russia using them in like isolated areas behind the lines along the railroads. Of course, there's been no confirmation, just stories from civilians and from Russian troops going through that area, seeing them. There's like one picture of them from the next hill over showing the crematorium still in use, but it's like in a very, very remote area back here away from prying eyes. Moving on. Ukrainian Su-27 strikes Russian positions with American bombs. Ooh. Sorry to my headphone users. Broadcast Cat was saying it has a facade around it now. Let me go back to Mariupol, and you can actually see that facade right here. They put up a very thin wall of plywood with a painted theater on it. Okay, just for shits and giggles. Number of people Trump got 77 million votes. There's something like 350 million people in America. So less than a third, probably about a fourth of the population voted for Trump. The problem is half the population didn't vote. So, yeah, like 150 million people voted. 153, 154 million. Right around there. 1.5% votes. It was a difference between Harris and Trump. But if 150 million people voted, that means 200 million did not vote. If you didn't vote, don't complain because you have no right. I voted for Harris. I'll bitch about Trump all I want. Speaking about bitching about Trump, from Trump on Twitter, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He is playing with fire. A lot of people are like, oh, he's finally waking up. Finally waking up. I don't care. He has a personal grudge against Zelensky because Zelensky wouldn't help him in his fight against Biden. It's personal. That's all I'm going to say is Trump has a personal thing with Zelensky. If it was somebody else besides Zelensky in charge of Ukraine, Trump might think different, but if it was somebody else in charge of Ukraine, we probably wouldn't be in this position because they wouldn't have had the fortitude that Zelensky has to stand up to Russia as much as he's had. But what I really wanted to point out was Russia's response to that statement from Trump. Regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing. World War III. I hope Trump understands this. That's not a veiled threat. That is an outright threat. Yeah, I get you on some of that stuff, guys. Yeah, this is Russia threatening. I don't care if you like Trump or not. This is Russia threatening the President of the United States with World War III. If Trump does not react to this, he's going to lose most of American support that he has left. The only thing worse is attacking America. An outright attack. So, but yeah, Russia is now threatening our president. You know, bash on them all you want, use your words, fine. But when you sit there and threaten American president with World War III, threatening Americans with World War III, you need to step up, Mr. Trump. And I showed this one earlier, but I think it is so funny. The consequences of the fiber optic drones on the front line.
Мали карася в оптоволокні.
That just amazes me. Thinking about how many strands are sitting there, and each one of those strands means an FPV drone. And this guy's trying not to trip himself walking through it.
Мали карася в оптоволокно. Оце все поле в оптоволокні. Геть, все тягне за собою. Рибак, блядь. Ваня, а ти чого собі не взяв? Ти чого собі не взяв лески?
Yeah, unfortunately, that remains to be true, Broadcast Cat. Saying Churchill said about Americans, they will come to the right decision when all other decisions are exhausted. Yeah, Congress. Yeah, that's... Definitely in my lifetime, Adam Rounds. Yeah, definitely more things to come. And the only thing I'm wondering is, you know, those strands, because they're walking through a farm field. When the farmer is actually able to get in there and till, are those strands going to, like, gum up his equipment? Yeah. Questions, you know, farmers have about their farmers. I'm going to go in reverse order and show you the clip from K2 Brigade. Or, oh, I'm sorry, 3rd Assault. And then we'll end the stream with Madhyar. Well, let's go to 3rd Assault's video. Yeah, pretty much. She did admit to that. Oh, an episode of Ring Around the Rosie. And you always lose the FPV. Hey, I bet you wish you had an anti-drone pistol, don't you? So that was the video from 3rd Assault Brigade. Before we go into Madhyar's video, let me zoom back to the top. And, you know, I bet they wish they had one of these. I was talking about that little switch for the trigger. I don't know, it seems like a weird little switch to have as a trigger. And I'm guessing the harder you pull or less you pull, it changes the frequency of the drone, the jamming. I'd like to know more about it. I'd bet the American military would like to know more about it. And unfortunately, because we're being not we, but unfortunately, because the US government is being so asinine and not cooperating with Ukraine, Ukraine is making huge steps ahead of us in technology. And this is just one example. Unless our leaders wake up and start trading information with us for aid to them, to Ukraine, we're going to fall behind. And Russia will have more know-how than we do. You know, Ukrainians and Russians are learning from this war. We need to be involved in it for our own security and our own future. And, you know, that's besides the human element of it. The Republican, the Democratic element of it. All besides that. You're worried about being the technological future? We've already lost it. Ukraine is the technological future. So hopefully that will wake some people up and realize, oh, we need to work together and develop these technologies together. So we have access to them, not just Ukraine. You know, we support Ukraine. They give us access to the technology they develop, and we keep up or keep ahead of Russia. And here we go. For the last video of the night, I give you the one, the only, the Madiar.
О, цей веселий. Веселий в плані, бачимо, з Мавіка залазить в нашу М113 підбито. І я дивлюся, немає його. І потім чуть нижче опускаюся, бачу, він під нею. Ну просто, він думав, що він в безпеці. Але він не знав, що за ним полюють птахи Мадяра. О, тут є нюанс. І прилетіла смерть. Ну, це якби очевидно. Хобана. Да. Ох, то було файно. А це гарний штурмовик такий, він заряджений і він дуже витривалий. Дивіться, як він біжить з автоматом. І гляньте, він на ходу біжить, зад стріляє, але це йому не допомогло. Тому що дрон більш прокачаніший, ніж їхні штурмовики. Він тут гарно бігає, ох, яка якість сліда, я ще не бачив. Він хотів штурманути, але щось не вийшло в нього. Ми так і не
Well, I guess it's not Madiar narrating this one.
Зараз втомиться, ось він вже втомлюється. Хоп, каже, нема сил. Все, куди бігти, просто ліг і лежить, не знаю. Ну, міг би ще трошки проповзти, але не вийшло. Танк захований в ангарі, і він має такий артилерії своєрідної. Він працює з закритих позицій, і видно, що по тому, як ворог снаряди...
Oh, maybe Madiar needs to rest that golden voice of his.
Зрозуміло, що якби танк розірве при гарному заході дрона. А так вони по одному снаряду падають всередині і стріляють по нашим позиціям. Тобто як танк виступає в ролі артилерії. І що він не виступав в цій ролі, наша історія наступна, що ми прилітаємо, виключаємо ствол завжди. За умов, можливо, якщо люк відкритий, то ми з першого разу спалимо будь-який танк. Але ворог вже навчений, тому да, люки закриті в більшість випадків. І ми прилетіли, ось у нас тут гарний боєприпас, і ми виключили йому ствол. От цю групу...
So I guess I'm going to talk over this guy because not all of us understand Ukrainian, and, well, no subtitles.
І тут отакий
So,
Єлісей думав, що ми туди не залетимо, але в нас
you know,
вікно, і він
I said the saying earlier in
йому
this
сподобалось.
stream, necessity is the mother of invention.
Він хотів сказати, що гарно.
What other need is
Ну, він
greater
не
than
очікував. Він
I want
думав,
to
що
stay
там
alive?
звичайно, тут тобто волокно прилетіло і
That's
його
what you
Ну, нічого,
that's
буває.
what Ukraine is fighting for, their right to exist.
Це біля наступної гармати, поруч. Ну, як поруч.
So anything, any idea that has any merit whatsoever is going to get used, developed upon, improved upon, and done quickly. What have we seen so far in this war? Went from, you know, Predator drones, $1 million drones flying around launching missiles, to a $500 mobile grenade, essentially, is what an FPV is. We've improved battery time. They improved video latency, sending back to the FPV operator. You know, gaming was trying to produce, you know, 3D goggles for gaming. You know, the FPV drones use the same goggles and have been more effective in the development of those goggles in the 3 years of this war than it has been in the 10 years they tried to do VR. And Ukraine's been doing it with essentially off-the-shelf electronics. Piecing it together, Frankensteining stuff together to get the stuff done. And that's just talking about a small part of it. The evacuation drone that we saw. You know, that was in testing phases in America and other parts. Here, Ukraine is putting it to use, making it go further and do more than it was ever planned to be able to do. They've loaded machine guns on drones to hold positions. Now that's leading to machine gun anti-aircraft that we saw being developed for $150K a unit.
Орки крали наші дрова в селі. Хоп, і ще й кидаються дровами. Ну дуже невічливо це робити, коли проти тебе оператор дрона із дроном. Просто прийми смерть, а він ще пробував щось там дровами кидається. О, тут гарно він прям пробує накинутись на дрона, але щось у нього не вийшло. От дивіться. Хоп, промазав.
You know, and you think this innovation is going to stop when the war stops?
Гарно дрон літає, дивіться.
No, you have
дрон, як
a large portion of Ukraine that needs to be rebuilt.
Ну він чуть-чуть проповз.
It needs to be rebuilt cheaply, effectively, and in mass. Do you think current construction techniques will keep up with the rate that they need to rebuild? No, they're going to be inventing modular homes. You know, we've seen like niche projects here in the States with 3D printed housing. I think Ukraine's going to take that to the next level, and we're going to see 3D printed high-rise buildings. You know, it's a weird thing to be sitting there talking about in front of an image of a tank burning, but
Дим валить просто, я люблю такі кадри. Я завжди, коли знищую танк, я або САУ, або щось з гарматою таке, я вибираю якусь таку смачну картинку, щоб от воно просто в пам'яті закарбувалося.
yeah, this is if you haven't seen it before, let's not do YouTube. 3D printed So this is a developing technology right now.
And I am the
is being done in India, and this is basically a 3D printed cement house. Fraction of the cost, fraction of the workers, and all the strength of a concrete building. Any layout you want, you just feed it in, take it to the site, and it pours the cement and builds the house. I guarantee you this technology is going to be used to help rebuild Ukraine. And yeah, it's the same as that thing right there. The same thing they're showing you on the screen. You just run the outside of it, fill in the voids with a cement truck later, and there you go. There's your house. One guy to watch it, make sure the concrete comes out smooth, and then later you just fill in this gap. Or you do this old construction. Yeah, it's having issues, and they're trying to figure those issues out. They have pictures here. There we go. Another video on YouTube. University of Maine 3D printed house. Citizens Robotics 3D printed home. Austin, Texas condos 3D printed. Danish group doing the 3D printing. That's a little weird, but again, Austin, Texas. 3D printing a house in a controlled environment. Here's another one. Past building regulations of the national government in Germany. California. Well, that's an interesting looking place. This one was Eindhoven, UK. Oh, no, Netherlands, sorry. Wrong Eindhoven. Bridge Too Far, if you know the movie. Eindhoven, yeah. And we went from hippie structures. Sorry to use that phrase. A little bit of a hippie structure to very modern, complete homes, businesses, You know, and that's been developed now. Think how far that tech's going to go under Ukraine. Another construction technique that's just starting to come out is earth bags. It's just these long nylon mesh bags. But you just fill them with dirt. You bunch up this nylon over a bucket, you shovel dirt into the bucket, and just go along and lay out your walls. Quick, easy, local construction. I wish they had more images. Let's go back to the top and do images. I mean, earth bags homes are still in the, I hate to use this phrase again, but it's the, I don't know how else to explain it better, but it's kind of like the hippie construction, and we're starting to see, modern-esque houses coming out of the earth bags. And this is just dirt, water, and nylon bags. And this is, imagine what Ukraine's going to do. Imagine what Ukraine can do when they're sitting there looking at rebuilding entire cities like Bakhmut, Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, so many others. They have to rebuild entire cities. And these are just two of the new technologies that have been coming out recently. You aren't going to rebuild Pokrovsk there, Konstantinivka, Toretsk. This is an entire city that has been leveled. Each one of these homes is going to have to be torn down and rebuilt. No roofs, no nothing. The weather's playing hell with all the brick and everything else. Can you imagine having the construction job of rebuilding the city? You're going to have new technology to keep up with the pace that they'll need to have to rebuild these cities. Yeah, okay, I knew like people would not. I'm saying building like a hippie is not a bad thing. I really liked the Earth ships when I lived in Arizona. And I consider these hippie houses, but they are very, very cool. It's kind of like a artistic community that built these what they call them earth ships. The good earth ship. So built in the Arizona desert, using reconstructed, recycled materials to construct them. And like 900 tires, 2,000 glass bottles, 10,000 aluminum cans, so on and so forth, to build a house like that with a indoor greenhouse, essentially. From positioning them to, the quintessential hippie house, in my opinion, the millionaire hippie house. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind living in one of these. Growing 50% of your own food inside your residence. Solar panels and such for your power needs. All built out of recyclable materials. And that's how they heat their home, is with the tires absorbing the sun. And in the winter, you just put a tarp over it and there you go. Or you know what I mean. It's a very cool design. So yeah, hippie building's not a bad thing. It's very cool in my opinion, but it's not to everybody's aesthetic. But being able to, you got these huge piles of mine tailings here. Imagine the structures you could build with earth bags using these leftovers from mining to form your walls. There's enough material right there to build the whole city. I can't wait to see what Ukraine does to revolutionize rebuilding so much of their territory, unfortunately. I think it'll be amazing, and I'd love to be part of it. Horseradish King builds a village. Yeah. I wish I had the money to be able to go in and like redo a village. I wish I could. My small part that I'm going to be playing while I'm in Ukraine is fiber optic internet is running along this road between Chernihiv here and Kiev. But this small village that I'm looking at buying a house in has not had internet ran out to it. So I've been chatting with some people that work for Kyivstar, and it would cost about $5,000 or so to bring high-speed internet out to here. But that basically gives high-speed internet to all these houses, this entire village, and would be this entire village. How many homes? It doesn't say population, unfortunately. Two entire villages that would have access to high-speed internet because I moved there and wanted high-speed internet. That could make a huge difference in a community. Yeah, and it, you know, and I can't wait to watch. Sorry, I have to do this. Ah, I can't wait to watch my first, uh, well, you know, watch my first soccer game with a cow. SA. What abbreviation are you using SA for? Uh, South America? Because a lot of times I say SD for South Dakota, and people think I mean San Diego. Um, what was the other one? I can't remember. That's the same one. No, different angle of the same soccer game. And yeah, the home team benches and the away team bench. And there you go. Two cows sitting there watching the kids play soccer. Such is life in rural Ukraine. Um, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see if anybody is active on YouTube. Mercado Gaming, Chungus, Greg Terry all have videos out, but nobody is live except Mercado Gaming. So I don't feel like I need to sign off. Yeah, I've said before that you can drop into any pin location in Ukraine, and you'd have a hard time to find something that's ugly. Okay, that road is a little ugly, but nice view down the road. You're talking about Greg. Greg said several times he lives in Klemensky, not the city. He doesn't say the city. He talks about the oblast. So let's take a look at. Oh, come on. Klemensky. Oh, yeah, the old Soviet apartment buildings. But what a view. I wouldn't mind living in that apartment building. Here we go. A town we can all relate to. Bar. Let's go to the bar. Is there anything around here? Oh, there's plenty around here. Can't see a whole lot other than a beautiful sunset. Yeah, let's take a look at what the water's like. No, lakeside property. And there's even a castle in Bar. Wow. The old castle walls, they are a crumbling. So like an old star fort. Okay. Well, old fort turned into a nice little park with ducks. Quack, quack. Adam, I do drink. It's just on rare occasions. Um, and I need something good to drink. Unfortunately, where I'm at is kind of a good drink graveyard. Nice picture of somebody's fingers. Oh, here's an off the beaten path. Speaking of beaten path, an old abandoned building that's crumbling, but somebody's been out cutting hay. Picnic lunch. The old root cellar and Soviet wheelbarrow. But no, I did not try the cherry wine stuff they have in Ukraine. I did try absinthe, the real absinthe, and oh man, I'm going to be trying some more of it. Things may turning real dim and closing out for tonight. Okay. Um, Night, Steve. I'm going to be going to. It's getting late. I actually had some decent sleep, but I'm getting tired again. Got about 7 hours of sleep last night, and oh man, it felt amazing. Let's go take a look at any random street in the city itself. And just happened to catch a glimpse of the soldier back in November of 2018. Little garden spot right between the sidewalk and the road. What is this place? Oh, okay. Couple soldiers. Let's go into we can go into the grocery store. This is like your average Ukrainian corner store. This was what it was like in the store in my apartment building. You know, stacks of water bottles, small selection of stuff, and you can get everything from, you know, deli and luncheon meats. Oh, I wish I could point on the screen without this big arrow popping in, but those are so good. Cabbages, tomatoes, Oh, now I'm hungry. Oh, Pepsi. There you go. Ukrainian beers. Not any of the ones I liked. I didn't get to try that many of them though. See anything in here? Coffee ale? Cherry ale? That cherry ale might be good. Snickers are huge in Ukraine. Twix is, yeah. Okay. 22 hryvnia, about 50 cents for a Twix bar. And that's the Twix Extra. Red Bulls. Oh, wait, maybe. I can't tell, but I think that was my drink of choice. I'm not sure. But that is, I think that is the cider. And it's just not clear enough. But Stella Artois, Heineken, hard lemon, hard citrus. So yeah, this is like the cabinet I'd be shopping in. All the ciders. And of course, Lay's potato chips. They go everywhere. Ugh. Let's see. Oh, that'd be interesting. They exist stronger than steel and lighter. Um, how much are property taxes in Ukraine, and does it double every 7.5 years? Um, I couldn't tell you about doubling, but let me get out of the store here. Go down to, oh, no, too close. There's the border. Okay. I'm looking for a town called Yahuzhny. Okay, at the this property here was one of the first properties I bought. Property taxes on this place was about $60 a year. Or 60 hryvnia a year. Sorry. Now you're talking like $1.50 or so in tax. And it's just property taxes is for the local governments. So whatever the city decides they need, that's what the property taxes are. But there's a limit to how much it can be, and it's a percentage of the national minimum wage. So it cannot be very expensive unless the average wage doubles every 7.5 years. The property taxes in Ukraine cannot double. No, they're not chicken. It's kind of like a filleted lamb chop. I don't know how else to explain it. No Coronas. Yes, booze is pretty cheap. A 750 milliliter bottle of vodka, Horlivka, run you about 200 hryvnia, about $5. Yeah, I forgot the exact formula for it, but it's like, it's all calculated off of the minimum level of income for Ukrainian citizens, and it's calculated off of that. So you could end up paying more if you're buying more lots, but it's like 10% of like 1/20th or some. It's some weird formula, but I wish I could. Ugh. I wish I could find it again, because I used to know it like offhand, but I forgot it. I need to look that up again. It's a weird formula. Uh, oh, you'll find a lot of Ukrainians do that. One of the villages I was working with, oh, there it is. This was one of the villages I was working with. In the back row over here, there's about 3 houses we fixed up and got into displaced families' hands. One of the projects they're trying to work on, let me go to the other one because it's a little bit better view of it. One of the projects the village is trying to work on is to get state funding to repair these ponds. This used to be a fish farm. They'd farm different types of fish in each pool, different stages of life, and that was a big income source for not only this town but the next town over. These became abandoned and, well, unmaintained. Some of them have dried out. Trees have grown in, and they want to redo and fix this place up. I'd love to go and check it out, see how they're doing on it, but they're trying to get the funds to get that going again. And yeah, basically be a fish farm to supply fresh fish, because they are in a very good position right here. They're directly to the road to Kiev. Go to the east down this road, and you get on the main road that heads to Venetia, on up to Korston, It's a very central location. Zhytomir's right there. Again, the village is right here. So easy access to Zhytomyr, Venetia, Bielitsertska, Kiev within hours. So harvest the live fish, take them to your markets. Could even head over to Klemensky, so on and so forth. It was a thriving business. Unfortunately, it hasn't been doing anything for like the last 10 years. So they want to get that reopened, and I'm not much of a fish person, but you know, if it's something that came out of one of those fish farms, I'd eat it. Yeah, I know that. All too well. Um Coming back here to my home area. Um 115th, 17th, 16th, 15th, 14th, couple miles up. This property here was a small family-owned farm. Property taxes in 2013 on this place was about $600. They had to fold up and sell the place because they couldn't afford the property taxes anymore and still run the farm. Yeah, I think property taxes they told me was $2,900, almost $3,000. And that would have basically taken their income from the farm down to a point where they were living below poverty level. Yeah, if it's a proper fish farm with flowing water, the fish end up tasting really nice. In the case here, I lost it. Bill is there. We go. In the case here, these lakes feed into here, and the water runs through. So you'd have nice, clean, fresh tasting fish, but you get like I know one of the fish farms here in the States, I can't remember where to find it. But basically the only way they oxygenate the water is by having a fountain spraying. And it's like, yeah, the fish out of that tastes like mud. I don't know about a fortune. I was only able to afford to buy one share of the concrete company in Ukraine. Yeah, let's do that to close out the stream. Invest. So if you are looking for an investment, Ukraine's looking for you. Ouch. Pinched. Um, so an entire website for investment opportunities in Ukraine. Um, oh, I know there was more. I haven't looked at this in a while. Almost 2 years ago was the last time I looked at this, unfortunately. Um, there we go, National Recovery Plan. So, okay, because it's an image, it won't translate. Um, 850 projects in the last 10 years. Annual growth rate is over 7%. Financing of over $750 billion contributed from 25 countries. In the last 2 years, 580 projects has gone through Invest Ukraine, and they're projected to do another 270 between 2026 and 2032. You know, schools, digital government, defense and security, looking for 50 billion in investments. Rebuilding a clean and secure environment, undo the environmental damage that Russia has done. 20 billion in investments sought there. Energy independence and the Green Deal, 130 billion looking for investments there. The one I'd be interested in at this point, national parks for people. No, I'm not going in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Restoring Ukraine's wildlife. Modernization of combustion plants. Decommissioning Chernobyl. Modernization of radiological monitoring. This is all stuff they're looking, all the projects in the past. Just so much to explore. I'll have to re-explore this site and find ah all sectors. Um I'm going to go with egg processing. Construction. So what they're telling me is this is the only only thing that's going on right now. And unfortunately, they don't have this one in English. Some of them are English, some of them are all in just Ukrainian. There you go, honey. But this site used to have like specific opportunities to invest. I'll have to re-explore it and figure out what's what. But on that note, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I am going to say good night. I'm going to go get something to eat before I turn into a pumpkin in 2 minutes. I'd love to catch up with chat before I go, but I gotta pee so freaking bad. So with that, I'm saying good night. Thank you all for coming to the stream. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And see you tomorrow night. Same Canty time, same Canty channel. Keep supporting Ukraine. And please, please, if you can, go to the Amazon link in chat or in the description below and send some medical supplies with me to Ukraine in a couple months. See you next time. Have a good night. Stay safe, everybody. TTFN.